It's good to see you today. Appreciate you joining me. We're going to be looking at another prophet who prophesied in the time of Hezekiah today. But before that, our hymn today is "Oh, for a Thousand Tongues to Sing." Let's look at our passage together now. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 1 gives the timestamp, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Of course, one of the most prominent passages in Isaiah, and there's much said in Isaiah, but the one that's perhaps most well known is Isaiah chapter 53. Who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or comeliness, and when we see him there is no beauty, that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we did not esteem him. As it speaks about him being a man of sorrows, I thought we might just consider that it says that he was acquainted with grief. And that grief and those sorrows did not begin with the cross. There was a culmination at the cross, but it began long before that. When Jesus was born, what happened to the babies in Bethlehem? What did Jesus' own parents, Mary and Joseph, have to do as threats were being breathed against them? Think about John the Baptist, a relative of Jesus's, and what happened to him. They tried to stone Jesus at a certain point. And actually, in the verse that talks about them trying to stone him, it uses the word again. What about in Nazareth, when they tried to throw him off a cliff at the edge of town, his own hometown? What about in John 6, when many of his disciples walked with him no more? What about when he asked a simple question like, is it right to do good on the Sabbath? And they had so much trouble answering it. And it grieved him in his spirit. He was grieved at the hardness of their hearts, it says. What about when he came to his own disciples and he found them sleeping again? He's a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. The cross was the culmination, not the beginning of those sorrows. Back to our passage. Goes on, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. It's an amazing thing. We esteemed him stricken. The people thought that what was happening to Jesus at the crucifixion, he saved others, let him save himself. They wagged their head. They thought that God was displeased with him. They thought his Father was displeased with him. And so they did not esteem him. And by the way, that they did not esteem him also did not just begin at the cross. Is this not the carpenter's son? Are not his mother and brothers with us? How can he say these things? They did not esteem him. By what authority are you doing these things? They did not esteem him. They didn't esteem him. The culmination was at the cross. Oh, obviously, the Father is not pleased with him. But there's a world of meaning in that word but there in verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was a man of sorrows, but he carried our sorrows. We esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted, but he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him. A little further down, verse 7, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. He went silently. He opened not his mouth. The point of that, you might notice he was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shears is silent, so he opened not his mouth. The point of that is not that Jesus didn't say anything, because Jesus did say things. Jesus even said things on the cross. Father, forgive them for, I was about to say for what, they know not what they do, but Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, that passage. He says, speaking to John and Mary, behold thy son, behold thy mother. He speaks to the thief. He said things. He said things in his trial. The point of the Isaiah passage is he went willingly. That's the point. He didn't fight it. He could have fought it. He could have called 10,000 angels. He could have had Peter draw his sword, and there's another sword there too. Someone else could have drawn a sword. He could have had them all arm themselves. But he told Pilate, I believe it was Pilate, my kingdom is not of this world. If it was of this world, my disciples would fight. He didn't deny being a king. Again, he said, he freely confessed it. That's what a passage later on in the New Testament says. In speaking about that confession, are you a king? You say rightly that I am. He spoke, but he went willingly. That's the point. Now, back to our passage. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who will declare his generation? Who will declare his generation? And that brings us back to our hymn. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praise, to glories of my God and King, the triumph of his grace. Jesus, the name that charms our fears, that bids our sorrows cease. 'Tis music in the sinner's ears. 'Tis life and health and peace. That phrase right there, 'tis music in the sinner's ears. Can you imagine being near death and knowing what was about to happen? And you're trying to breathe. and you see Jesus die, and you know they're about to come around and break your legs. Can you imagine the hope that you have before you die and before Jesus died to hear the Lord say, "Today you will be with me in paradise"? Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing, music in the sinner's ear. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.